Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. And as usual, I kickstart this show with my introduction, and I'm going to go very short because you heard me many times, maybe about 200 times. So I don't want to.
That's okay. Take your time.
I'm Sarah M. I'm from Cambodia. I grew up in the countryside, enjoy my peaceful life in the countryside, surrounded by nature. It's like heaven. I love it. Then when I got to attend college, which is in a big city, in the contrast to my early childhood, I went to the big city far away from my family. And then the hardest thing hit Cambodia. When the communist Khmer Rouge took over, they came in, basically destroyed our life, destroyed our country. They mistreated us so badly that 2 million people died within 4 years. And I struggled to survive. But with my love, my hope in my heart, I keep fighting, and I'm staying alive. So I'm so grateful that God heard my prayer and He kept me alive. And not only that, I was able to get out from captivity and get out from the country. So here I am talking to you. So by the grace of God, I'm here. So thankful. Thankful for my co-host Lee, that we enjoyed doing this for the last year and a half. So I wrote my story in the book, How I Survived the Killing Fields. You can find it on my website, sarahim.com. So that's it.
Thank you, Sarah. It's so heartwarming. So my name is Lee Tran. I have somewhat similar story with Sarah, not exact. We are neighbor country. I was born in Vietnam and she's from Cambodia, but the time frame couldn't be more coincide. Communists also took over South Vietnam in 1975, and that's when we were lived under the oppressive tyranny of the communists. And being an ethnic Chinese immigrant from China to Vietnam, I was a second generation. My dad came to Vietnam when he was 3. So, but anyway, the community has been oppressed to the point that we just have to find a way to get out because it was just too horrendous to stay. And we took the sea route instead of the jungle. We took the sea route. So we are the boat people. I got to America in 1980. And since then, I live a very beautiful American dream. Had a corporate job and then branched out and had my own business for over 10 years, and then decide that I'm going to tell my story after almost 40 years of bearing that heavy burden of not able to talk about it. So I too had my memoir last year, but 2 years before that, I had told a little glimpse of my story on the TEDx stage and was very well received. So so now I am a speaker as well. I'm trying to bring my message of hope out and encouraging people to break their silence so they can also tell their story. And I recently certified as a life coach, a transformation coach, so I can help people get the pain out of their system and find the magic in their tragic. So that's what my story is. And today we have Judy Kane. Beautiful Judy's gonna tell us about, I look at her website and it was just really cool, psychk. So I would love to learn about what psychk is and who Judy Kane is. So welcome, Judy.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Well, please tell us a little bit, tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what is psychk means.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So I took an interesting journey on the way to what I'm doing now. For decades, I was in corporate IT with, information technology, with computers and stuff. And then I had about a 5-year stint as a realtor. And during that, I learned how to do psychk. It was something I had seen back in about 2009. And I was very overwhelmed, really, to see how powerful it can be to change beliefs, what the impact of beliefs is on your life and how it turns out. And this was a process that didn't require me to have any special gifts. I didn't need to be able to sense energy or, do anything that was really unusual. It's just a process that I learned that works. Mm-hmm. And so it uses muscle testing or kinesiology to communicate with the subconscious. And you can change any particular belief in usually less than 5 minutes. Mm. So it's a very powerful way to change the way your life is playing out, because your subconscious beliefs pretty much control what's going on.
Yeah.
You can consciously want to do a lot of things, but if your subconscious isn't on board with those goals, if it doesn't think it's safe for you or that you deserve to get where you're trying to go, it's going to make it very difficult. So you want your subconscious to be lined up with your conscious goals so that it's an easier thing to do.
Wow, I think today's the second time of this week I heard the word muscle testing, so I really have to check it out.
Yeah, so its other name is kinesiology.
Right.
And some
reaction of the body.
Some chiropractors use it to figure out what to manipulate, and some nutritionists use it to figure out what supplements your body uses. In psychk, we use it to figure out what's actually going on in your subconscious. Mm-hmm. So if you were in the room with me, if you put your arm out to the side, and if I push lightly on your wrist and asked you to think of something that you liked, you'd have a signal from your brain to your arm, and it would stay strong and your arm would stay up. Mm. But if I asked you to think of something you disliked, it would be a weaker signal and your arm would dip a little bit. Right. So
Jack Canfield have that testing when he was doing one of his sessions, when you say something negative, your muscles kind of like, react in a certain way. And when you say something positive, so I got it. Yeah. But I want to go back to subconscious. That's the most powerful thing in our whole entire body, isn't it?
It is. It controls pretty much 95% of what plays out in your life, because it's a lot faster than your conscious mind.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have once read, I forgot what's the title is, the power of subconsciousness or something like that, from one of see, I read a lot of books and I don't tend to remember everything, which is horrible, but so powerful how you can actually, I don't want to say the word manipulate, but how you can actually optimize your subconscious to do the things that you want it to do. And if we can exercise a fraction of that, we'll be genius.
Life would be a lot easier, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that your theme, your theme this month is about value and self-worth and confidence.
Yes.
And you think of all the people that have imposter syndrome.
We all have it, don't we?
Yeah. And it's those subconscious beliefs there. You can be an expert and still doubt your knowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so this can help with that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but I want to speak for a lot for myself. I can feel very, very, very confident at one point or another. And as soon as I let that, little crack of subconscious of a negative talks, like, who wants to, just like immediately your body just slumps, just like, oh my God. is it true? You know, it just changed so fast.
Yeah.
So how does psychk works with some subconscious?
Well, it's a process to actually rewrite the belief in your subconscious. So it's kind of like changing code in a computer program.
How do you program that? I'd like to know.
Yeah. So it's a, you know, it's a process where you figure out what the person doesn't want, and then you figure out what they do want. They decide what they'd rather be experiencing, and then you see what's in the subconscious and figure out what it is that needs to change to support what they do want.
So is it a series of questions that you ask them that lead to that, or because sometimes people can answer one thing and they are thinking something else.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes people come in and they know exactly what they want. Other times we have, you know, we talk about it a little bit, but no, there's no set series of questions. It's, you know, people come in for, they want to be more successful at work, or they want a better relationship with somebody, or they have a phobia of snakes or flying or spiders or something, fear of speaking in front of people. I mean, there are all sorts of, or physical symptoms of stress, because the stress is caused by beliefs. So they come in for all sorts of reasons. And so they tell me why what they want to change. And then, you know, we figure out a statement usually that is what they want to be true. And if the subconscious doesn't believe it, then we use psychk to change that belief. And there are lots of ways to do it. We muscle test to figure out the best way to change that belief. But it involves sitting in ways that help somebody get into a whole brain state so that it's easier to access the subconscious. They're awake, they're aware, they're definitely the ones who decide what it is they want the new belief to be. I just kind of facilitate the process.
Okay. So what led you from an IT to a realtor to a psychic?
I saw it work.
Any personal experience involved? That's why you want to be part of it as a journey?
I saw it work. I was married at the time, and I saw a friend take my husband. He had I don't even remember what was wrong, but he had something that was a physical pain that he was not happy with. And I watched as this person helped him get rid of it. And I was stunned at how quickly it did that and how easy it looked to be able to do this myself. So I, as soon as I could find a workshop and learn it, I did.
So they certify, they train people to do that in your practice?
Yeah, you have to go to workshops to do it. You don't get a certification, but your attendance let you know when you go to the workshop, then you learn. And there are different levels. I've done everything they offer, but you know, you can do a lot with just a basic workshop. So as soon as I got out of that, I was ready to start working first with myself. Right?
So that take away the physical pain from that. You can not just mental pain, but also physical pain.
If you can find the belief that's causing the stress, you know, a lot of times I've been at conferences where people had migraines, and they were getting ready to have to leave because their headache was so bad. And I've been able to take them off to a corner and usually about 5 minutes been able to help them get rid of the migraine. And yeah, because it's the beliefs that are causing that.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, sometimes it's the body actually telling you that something's wrong with it.
Absolutely.
And sometimes your nervous system, your subconscious, or you want to say that something that, I know especially fibromyalgia is the pain that it was not real, but your nervous system is amplifying that pain and telling you that it is something really awful, you in pain. And being somebody in the family, my mom used to have fibromyalgia, and then even my 10 years old son at the time had fibromyalgia. And I think, you know, a lot of time it is something that is not a real physical pain, but it's a nervous system or something that is causing it.
Well, it's a physical pain, but it's your body trying to let you know something needs to change.
Right. It's amplifying that like 10 times or 100 times more.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So it's like your body's like an instrument panel. And if it's trying to get your attention, you need to pay attention to it and, you know, change something, because it'll just keep getting louder or give you more information to let you know something's not right. Yeah. So, yeah. So
oftentimes the mind control us, right? The subconscious control us. Now, how can, you know, is there a simple, quick way to make sure our mind be under our control so it can control us?
Well, your default processing is the subconscious. Mm-hmm. So if you're like me, when you're driving, if traffic is normal and weather is normal,
yeah,
you're halfway paying attention to driving the car, and you're also thinking about something that's happened or something that's going to happen. And your subconscious is pretty much driving the car, right?
Yeah. You don't even know how you get home. It's like, well, how did I get home?
Right. Yeah. It was like, wow, I don't remember passing that bridge or whatever it was.
Right.
But if you were paying attention, that would be your conscious mind, you know, bad traffic, and you're like really in the present moment and paying attention to everything. And that's kind of the way it plays with everything. So you can have good intentions and be very focused on doing something new that you've learned or something that you want to be different. But as soon as you stop paying attention to that, you're going to go back to the old way of doing it if you don't change what's in the subconscious.
Is that part of the habit too? I mean, the subconscious, it just kind of like is a routine that you have trained it so well that it's just taking over?
Somewhat, you know, but you get most of your subconscious beliefs before you're 7.
Mm.
I mean, not that you can't get new ones at any point in time, but when you get here, when you're born, you're kind of a clean slate.
Mm.
And you know, what you need to do is figure out what the rules are for where you landed. So you figure out with your family and your community and whatever other contacts you have, what are the norms, you know, what's safe to do, what isn't safe to do. And it's kind of the rules of engagement of wherever you land.
Right.
And some of that's helpful. You know, don't put your hand on a hot stove, don't step in front of a moving car, you know, I mean, some of it's good stuff. But think about the mixed messages you get about money.
Mm.
Like you're measured a lot of times and how successful you are by the amount of money that you make or have gotten, right? But at the same time, you're told that it doesn't grow on trees. It can be evil. You don't want to be greedy. You don't want to be like those people who have too much and act like you don't want to act. So there's all this conflicting information about money that you get. And a lot of times people find that they can make just enough money for what they need, but no more, because their subconscious beliefs,
you know, you're not a good family.
Yeah, you know, you don't want to have more than you need. That's just greedy, right?
Right. That word is sometimes it's scary. People, it's like, now you're getting greedy, you know, it's like, but you're asking for what you deserve, right? And it's a matter of choice of words. I think sometimes the word we put in ourselves, in our mind, it's really critical to choose the right word.
Yeah. So, but that's the type of thing that can fight against you. You know, I mean, I think everybody knows somebody or has experienced where you can get just as much as you need. If you make more, something big comes along and you end up having to spend it on something you hadn't planned on.
Right.
You never get that, you know, over that just enough money place.
Right.
And that's a good signal that the subconscious is working against you, you know, or people who work, you know, crazy hours, work, and they're smart and they know what they're doing and it's not happening for them, right?
Right.
And so they've probably got beliefs that say that they really don't know what they're doing, or they don't deserve to be successful, or maybe it's not safe to be visible, you know, to be seen.
Yeah. And also I guess that it play a lot in conquering the fear that you constantly tell yourself that a lot of times irrational type of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Phobias. I mean,
right.
You know, subconscious doesn't really listen to logic or data.
Mm-hmm. It's listen to emotion, right?
It's just something it learned. It doesn't even, there's not even a judgment on it. It's just you pick up the beliefs and that's what's there. If people who are afraid of flying, most all of them know it's probably more dangerous to drive to the airport than to get on the plane. Doesn't make any difference. They still get that panic response. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is playing a very, very large role in how we behave, how we assess, how we conduct our lives on a daily basis.
Yes.
So what do you do in helping them? Do you do workshop or do you do one-on-one consulting, or what exactly your service is?
Yeah. So I see people in individual sessions. I've got some workshops that I do for, you know, particular purposes, like aligning with their business so that they can, you know, identify what might be holding them back and change the beliefs to be more supportive. But generally I have one, you know, individual sessions with people for an hour at a time. Okay. And I do it all virtually now. I over half of my clients.
Wonderful to have Zoom that you don't have to travel anymore.
Right? I know.
Save a lot of gas.
It does, and a lot of confusion. It's so much easier to just walk over to my desk.
Yeah.
Before the pandemic, I had an office space, and over half of my clients were virtual, but I still had an office space here in you know, in Palm Harbor. And
where is it? Palm Harbor? Is it close to Tampa?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's north on 19 from St. Pete.
I'm from Orlando, so I'm a little bit out of the loop in that area.
Yeah.
It's north of Clearwater.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had an office and closed it down with the pandemic, and life is so much simpler without two ways of seeing people.
Yeah, I think working from home is actually, the COVID is actually opened a lot of eyes that people can work from home. Well, unless you get a bunch of kids running around, that it's really tough to deal with it. But a lot of adults that have older kids, or even, you know, everybody just hawk a computer, find a corner, and they make themselves an office.
I have a question for Judy.
Yes.
Judy, once a client come and see you for a certain need, how many times do you need to do? Just one time? Is that sufficient?
It depends. Sometimes 1 hour is plenty. I've never, for my phobia clients, they've never taken a full hour. We get rid of the phobia, and then it's like, so what else do you want to change? We've got time left over. Other things can be a lot more complex and might need multiple visits. And so it just varies depending on the person. A lot of times I work with coaches will send me their clients that are stuck somewhere in the coaching programs, because I don't do coaching. I don't do behavior. I don't do strategy. I don't do accountability. I just do the beliefs. And when that happens, they've narrowed down usually pretty specifically where the blocks are. And so frequently that's just one session too. So it just depends.
So it's a muscle testing. You really need to have physical contact to do that, or you don't?
No, because it's virtual, I do the muscle testing for them. So yeah, you can do, it's called surrogation, and a lot of modalities do remote work with people. And psychk lets you do that too, if, you know, once you've gotten to a certain level. So I do all the muscle testing, and but the person does everything else as if they were in the room with me.
Wow.
Very cool.
Huh.
Cool.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So if we have, if you have one advice for people to take action or to do something to unblock whatever their belief is with their subconscious, what would be the most valuable thing that you can tell them that they can do right now?
Well, I can't tell them how to unblock something, but the most valuable thing I can tell people is if something is not the way you want it, don't accept it. It's not the way things have to be.
Right.
You can change these things.
You have the choice, right?
You have a choice. Yes.
You have the choice. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So if we cannot do it ourselves, go to see Judy.
That would be lovely. Yes.
Yes.
And, you know, there are other modalities too, but just, you know, there are a lot of things that help you change the beliefs, and it's just, there's no reason to just think you're stuck in a certain situation for the rest of your life because that's the way it's always been. It doesn't happen.
Right, right. And so many times that when I feel stuck, I would watch people with all kind of disabilities and be able to do all the things that they want to do. And then I ask myself, you know, what's holding me compared to the people that who absolutely have all the reason that they can say that I can't do this, I am stuck because of this, and they don't. So I think, you know, that's part of the way how I excite myself just to get over that feeling, because yeah, sometimes we do have that feeling from time to time, which is fine. Move over it, take an hour, 2 hours a day, do whatever you need to do, but then find a way to get out of it. If not, go find somebody to talk about it.
Right. Well, and there is one thing people can do, because this is what, it's the first step, is a lot of times people know what they don't want, but they're not very clear about what they do want.
Yeah. That's hard. People say, well, just be clear what you want. Be clear what it's like. You know, I would be so easy if I know exactly what I want. You know, a lot of time, yeah.
So getting really, really clear of what it looks like, how it sounds, how it would feel, just the whole, you know, get very detailed, clear about what it is you really want. That helps a lot.
Right. So when I was doing interior decorating, I used to do custom window treatment, and people don't know what they want. So I say, let's do the process of elimination. Put out all the stuff you know that you don't like, you know, all the bold color or the pattern, and then you put out the maybe one, and then you take out the one that you really, so you eliminate that down, and slowly you're down to 2 or 3 choices, and then you say, which one is more important? Which one is representing you than the other? So that is my way of process of elimination. But it is harder to do the abstract when you don't have a physical thing that you can lay out on the table and say that just take it off. So is there a process for people to, I mean, I guess that they can write it down. What is important to them? What's important that they want to process? And then I guess take the time to think about it, and then see which one is the most important thing, and try it. If it's not the right thing, then switch to the second choice, I guess. Am I right? Or any other advice that they can get from you?
Just get really, like, actually picture it. Picture 3 examples of what something would look like.
I see.
You know, if they wanted a better relationship, picture 3 examples of what it would really look like if it were a supportive relationship, or if they want to be more successful, what would their life look like once this is true? So just getting really, really clear with the details.
Yeah, that's so true. But one thing I want to also say that it's probably picture what in the capacity of they can do, not, let's say you said the relationship. I learned that try not to change other persons.
Right. Yeah.
Don't wish that you can change the other person. Maybe wish how you can change yourself to adapt to the situation, perhaps.
Well, it's your perception.
Right. Right.
And if your perception of the situation changes, you're going to be reacting to it differently.
True. That's
and
true.
then they are going to be reacting differently to you.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, I changed that for a long time ago. You know, sometimes nagging doesn't work. You're going to have to find a different way to get it in. So it is so true. Change your perception, change your perspective, be in the other person's shoes and figure out what that person like and what is their language of love in order to get into them. So yeah, those are all really great advices. Thank you.
Sure.
I know, oh my God, we are like on the point here. So how can people find you, Judy?
My website is www.alignedconsciousness. Is that going to show somewhere or should I spell it out?
Oh yeah, I think Sarah did post it on today's Who We Talking. I think she did put your website on it. But if you want to, you can also put it again under our video here. And,
all right. Yeah. And so that's a good way. If people have questions, they can book a free 15-minute phone call with me to see more about what I do and how that might work for them. Okay. Or they can book they can book anything from that website.
Awesome. psychk, not psychic.
Yes. I'm definitely not psychic.
But thank you so much. It was such a great conversation to have with you. And thank you for taking your time to be here with us and tell us a little about our subconscious. Because
thank you for having me. Yes, yeah, I've loved it.
I think with any capacity, if we understand how our subconscious works, we can definitely boost up that self-worth, self-value, and, be able to understand more about ourselves and then the people around us.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much again. And we'll look forward to talk to you again soon.
Great. Thank you.
Have a